Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS College Football. We are now into week 13. Tuesday night, we got 3 MACtion games on. Let's talk about it. I mean, it's Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. First up, we got UMass on the road in Athens. This should be a bloodbath. So that loss that Ohio just took, that hurt. They lost to Western Michigan, and Ohio no longer controls their own destiny in terms of getting back to the MAC championship. Remember, these are the reigning MAC champions here. They're going to need help. They need to win out, and they're going to need some help. Now, the good news is they're at home against UMass. I mean, Ohio should not be in danger of losing this game. First of all, we're talking about the Ohio Bobcats here. They're much better at home. This dates back multiple years. Ohio's actually 22-1 in their last 23 home games. So this team very rarely loses a football game at home. Not to mention they're playing UMass, UMass is going through all kinds of stuff. This is just a year to forget for UMass. The Ohio offense has been significantly better in their home games, over 35 points per game, over 6.7 yards per play, over 48% success rate. And the UMass defense, look, they're so injured that I feel bad even criticizing them. They've got players on the scout team seeing significant snaps. They're so injured. The icing on the cake was they lost their one of their main linebackers, Tim Hinspiter. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but he just got injured a couple weeks ago, and there's just nobody left on this UMass defense. They are truly so injured. They just played Northern Illinois, who, by the way, is probably a bottom 20 offense in the country. They just played Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois won the game 45-3, and they scored on their first 7 possessions. Northern Illinois, that's legitimately a bottom 20 offense in the entire country. So this UMass defense right now, I mean, there's no gentle way to say it. They're terrible. They're one of the worst teams. They probably are the worst team in the country. They're 132nd in success rate, 126th in PPA per play. And honestly, they were playing slightly better defense earlier in the season. So these season-long numbers, they're actually slightly worse than this. On the road against Ohio's offense that's always good at home, there's nothing on paper that indicates UMass is capable of generating stops in this game. We're talking about Ohio at home coming off a loss. Yeah, they should score on virtually every possession. And on the other side of the ball, I mean, this is where we get to the weakness of this Ohio team. They're 81st in success rate, 63rd in PPA per play. They've been dealing with some injuries on this side of the ball all year. Their linebacker, Michael Molnar, I thought he was supposed to come back for the Western Michigan game. He didn't. He's been out since week 9. I don't know if he's going to play. There's a couple other lingering injuries on this side of the ball for Ohio. So this is the weakness of this Ohio Bobcats team is the defense. Remember, that MAC championship defense that won the conference last year mostly left. So this would be the side of the ball where Ohio could be potentially vulnerable. But number one, they're playing UMass. The UMass offense is it's the worst offense in the country. And number two, the Ohio defense has actually been holding its own. It hasn't been great. They're allowing just under 5.6 yards per play, 40.5% success rate. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been completely terrible either. In fact, they seem to be playing their best defensive football right now. So this Ohio defense is actually coming around. And UMass, I mean, in their last 3 games, they're averaging less than 9 points per game, 32% success rate, 3.63 yards per play. They just lost another offensive lineman. I didn't even write down his name, but it was one of their more experienced offensive linemen. He just got injured last week. So, I mean, this offense is just to show you the current state of the UMass program. So they just played Northern Illinois. They were down 45-0, right? They're down 45-0 in the fourth quarter. They kick a field goal to make it 45-3, and they set off fireworks, like a whole fireworks celebration to kick a field goal to make it 45-3, which is just insane. But I suppose they just had the fireworks queued up, and they told the crew, just set it off when we score a point. But, yeah, they set off a fireworks celebration to kick a field goal to make it 45-3. Poor UMass, man. This is a season to forget. Look, we're talking about a huge number here, 32.5, 33.5. look, Ohio should be able to win this game by however many they want. They could win this game by 40 plus if they wanted to. The question is, do they want to? I mean, maybe the fact that they're coming off a loss, they just want to put an exclamation point. But in a game like this, UMass is so injured that I feel like other teams kind of feel bad for them. If Ohio gets the ball back up 31-7 in the fourth quarter, who's to say they don't just hand it off? Like, I don't know. I guess Ohio, but I'm good on this one. The Akron Zips are on the road to play Bowling Green here. This was an Akron team that was kind of on a roll. The mighty Kent State put them down 42-35 last week in overtime. Now, Akron was down 35-17 in this game. They came back to force overtime. So in the second half, they definitely looked a lot better. But yeah, that little hot streak Akron was on, Kent State puts an end to it. Now they're matched up against Bowling Green, which is a team they've lost 3 consecutive football games to. I gotta say, I still think Akron is the better team here. I don't really understand this line. You look at the season-long numbers here, and it looks like Bowling Green's defense has been better than Akron's offense. And I guess as far as the entire season, that would be true. But Akron's offense has really come on recently. On the season, Akron's 97th in success rate, 115th in PPA per play. Bowling Green's 73rd and 80th. But Ben Finley is playing his best football right now. In the last 4 games, he's averaging over 285 passing yards per game. He's delivering throws from a clean pocket. 89.7 NFL pass rating isn't excellent, but it's not bad. Ben Finley's been making some throws. This Akron offense looks pretty good. And Bowling Green's defense, it's been pretty strong this year. In fact, it's exceeded my expectations. Last year, Bowling Green had an elite defense, but we're talking about a brand new coaching staff with Eddie George taking over, obviously a new defensive coaching staff. Most of the starters are gone as well from last year's defense. So I actually thought this year's defense was going to struggle. They've been pretty good. That being said, you look at their numbers in their MAC games, they did get thrown on a couple times, allowing 8.37 yards per pass attempt in their MAC games. In my opinion, Ben Finley's going to be able to throw the ball in this game. The only reason I'm a little hesitant is I'm reading there's a chance of snow. So maybe weather could keep Akron from throwing the ball in this game. But the way Akron's offenses look, they look pretty good recently. I think they're able to throw the ball on Bowling Green's defense. And on the other side of the ball, I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but Akron has the significant advantage. Akron's defense has played pretty well. On the season, they're 67th in success rate, 89th in PPA per play, and specifically, the last handful of games, they've been great against the run, which is all Bowling Green can do. Keep in mind, Bowling Green's down to their 4th-string quarterback. Their 4th-string quarterback. They're 127th in success rate, 130th in PPA per play. Look at Bowling Green's offensive numbers from their last 4 games. They're averaging less than 13 points per game, 4.44 yards per play, under 34% success rate. And if you look at the opponents, yes, Central Michigan has a strong defense. Buffalo has a very strong defense, but Kent State, Eastern Michigan, they had a 33.3% success rate against Eastern Michigan's defense last week. So this offense is not good right now. And like I said, Akron's been really strong up front. They're allowing just 3.54 yards per carry, 39% success rate per rush. So they've been defending the run well, which is basically all Bowling Green can do. Bowling Green doesn't pose much of a threat through the air. Bowling Green attempted just 5 passes in the first half last week against Eastern Michigan. So, look, when it comes to betting this game, I don't really understand the line. 3.5. I personally think this should be around 1.5. I don't like when I'm that far off. Actually, there's a couple 3s popping up, so maybe the 3.5s are getting bought up. Maybe I'll take this. I don't like when it feels like I'm missing something. Akron's been the better team recently. Bowling Green's offense is in shambles. The only thing I can think of is maybe the weather is supposed to be worse than I was looking at. Because keep in mind, Akron needs to throw the ball. If this game is nasty weather and these teams are forced to rely on the run game, definitely gives Bowling Green the huge advantage. They're a pretty physical team. So if it's nasty weather, Bowling Green on the ground will have the advantage. But Akron, if the weather's decent enough where Akron can throw the ball, yeah, I don't think this should be above a field goal. So give me Akron plus 3.5. Might take a deeper look at the weather, and I might take Akron plus 3.5. As of right now, I haven't pulled the trigger on it. Now we get to a game that I actually did bet. Western Michigan is on the road at NIU. Vibes are high with Western Michigan right now, coming off the huge home win over Ohio. That play they made, the touchdown they scored to take the lead, was wild. The dude was almost out of bounds on the sideline, then ended up breaking a tackle and run for like 65 yards. Awesome highlight to take the lead and beat the defending MAC champion Ohio Bobcats. So yeah, Western Michigan in the driver's seat, 5-1 in conference to possibly play in the MAC championship game. As far as this matchup right here, I got to say I don't love it for Western Michigan. I don't know how you lay more than a field goal in this one. And I know that sounds crazy because Western Michigan's been so much better than Northern Illinois, but the type of football game that we should see here, I mean, these two teams, 11th in rushing frequency, 8th in rushing frequency, 104th and 98th in pace. Both of these teams rely on a slow physical run game. They're very similar. It's going to be the slowest football game of all time. So who's going to win these battles? Now, remember, Western Michigan is a defensive team. They have arguably the best defense in the MAC. Maybe you throw Miami of Ohio in that conversation. Toledo's defense is strong, but they're certainly one of the top defenses in the MAC this year. The Western Michigan offense hasn't been very good. Their quarterback, Brock Lowry, is also their leading rusher. Like I said before, they're very reliant on a physical run game. They don't pose much of a threat through the air. In fact, they're 120th in success rate per dropback, 127th in PPA per dropback. Western Michigan does not have much of a passing attack. The strength of this Northern Illinois defense is defending the run. Also, Western Michigan might be missing their main running back, RB1 Jalen Buckley, listed as questionable for this game. So in addition to maybe Northern Illinois' defense being a tough matchup, they might be missing their main running back. And this NIU defense has been very strong at home. Look at their numbers against the run in their home games. 3.42 yards per carry, under 36% success rate per rush, under 14 points per game allowed in their home games so far this year. And if you're familiar with Northern Illinois, head coach Thomas Hammock, you are not going to go into that building and bully this defensive front. I mean, their entire identity is physicality. When they won, I forget which one it was, a few weeks ago, he was talking about how their team's the best when they choose violence or something. This is a physical football team. It's how they're branded. I mean, look at Hammock. Look at the head coach. Does that look like the type of guy that's going to let you come into his building and just drive his defensive line? No, I think Western Michigan's going to struggle to move the ball in this game. Remember, Western Michigan's offense isn't very good. It's their defense. That's why they're 5-1 in conference or whatever. That's why they've had success this year, is the defense. So let's flip it over to the other side of the ball. Obviously, this is why Western Michigan's laying 6.5 points in the game. We've got ourselves a serious mismatch on this side of the ball. Western Michigan, 40th in success rate, 25th in PPA per play. Northern Illinois has had all kinds of problems on offense this year. Just like Western Michigan, they're very reliant on the run. In fact, that's basically all they do. Now, it's been better. Look, I'm not going to try to tell you that Northern Illinois' offense is good. It's been significantly better. Through the first 5 games, under 31%. Success rate per rush is terrible, 3.9 yards per carry. In the last 5 games, over 4.8 yards per carry, 43% success rate per rush. And specifically their last game, on the road at UMass, their quarterback got hurt, Holst. So he was injured. They started Jalen Macon at quarterback for the first time this season. Now, Macon is very limited as a thrower. He's a very good athlete. He had more yards rushing than passing, I'm pretty sure, in the game. But it was Northern Illinois' best offensive output of the season. Over 6.8 yards per play, over 48% success rate. Now, they played UMass, so maybe we don't read too much into it at all. But with Macon at quarterback, sure, Northern Illinois is going to be limited in terms of throwing the ball, but their run game is going to be even more dynamic. And I actually think it's interesting in this matchup because this Western Michigan defense has been great, but their biggest strength is the pass rush. They've got that kid Tucker. He's one of the best defensive players in the entire MAC conference. He's got 10.5 sacks, 16 tackles for loss this year. Like I said, one of the best defensive players in the conference. But that's one of the strengths of this defense is their pass rush. They've got an elite MAC pass rush here. Well, NIU is not going to be throwing the ball. They already never throw the ball, and now they've got a quarterback who throws it even less. So NIU is not going to be dropping back to pass much. So, look, I'm not saying it neutralizes the Western Michigan defense, but it might neutralize what is a big part of that Western Michigan defense, a big part of why they've been so successful. So, look, I'm not indicating that Northern Illinois is going to have a big offensive game here, but don't be surprised if they're able to move the chains a little bit. NIU has absolutely dominated this head-to-head series. They're 12-4 in their last 16 games against Western Michigan, 11-5 against the spread, and specifically at home in this building, 7-1 in their last 8 games against Western Michigan. So Western Michigan has had problems against NIU. They've had problems in this building. This number shouldn't be 6.5. This is going to be a slow, physical, rushing attack versus rushing attack. I think Northern Illinois is going to have something for them. I think they can give them a game. So personally, I'm on the plus 6.5. I think they're live. I think NIU could win. But as far as what I personally bet, Northern Illinois plus 6.5. Thanks for watching. Live shows at midnight Eastern time as always. If you're able to make it, would love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a good day. Remember to bet responsibly.